Hey, tonight we begin somewhere cold, polished, and too quiet for comfort. A marble corridor deep beneath Vatican City where no tourist ever treads, and where the mop you're holding feels less like a tool and more like a relic. Your first shift, no ceremony, just fluorescent lights humming overhead like they're trying to warn you in Morse code, and the subtle vibration of air ducts that shouldn't be running this deep. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know in the comments what time it is for you and where you're listening from, because I promise, in this job, time zones get slippery. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The floor is too clean. That's your first thought. You were told the archives hadn't been mopped since the last assigned janitor, who apparently retired early due to neurological strain, which is a very Vatican way of saying he cracked. But the marble is spotless, not just tidy, but gleaming, like someone polished it for hours. Only it wasn't you, not yet. The bucket they gave you is made of thick rubber, wheels silent, designed not to echo in these sacred catacombs. The mop smells faintly of incense or old blood, hard to say. Your security badge is laminated with your name, but misspelled. That will bother you more than it should. You follow the corridor, left again, past a stone cherub missing one eye. That statue wasn't mentioned in the map, but you'll learn quickly. Maps here are suggestions, not promises. On your third turn, the corridor dips, not metaphorically. Actually, the marble slopes downward into what they call the main spinal. That's what the head of maintenance muttered this morning before he forgot your name halfway through the sentence. Just keep to the spinal. Don't drift into the ribs, which is anatomical for a hallway, but okay. The deeper you go, the colder the air gets. Not damp, dry cold, paper cold, like the breath of something ancient pressed between pages. You pass a brass plate bolted into the wall. Faded Latin reads, Index Vaticanus Secretum, Autoritate Pontificia, the Vatican's secret index, the actual one. You remember reading somewhere that only 4 people in the world have unrestricted access to it. And now, you are pushing a mop past it. That's the thing they don't tell you about being a Vatican janitor. You're not just mopping history, you're smearing dust off the church's unspoken memory. Your walkie-talkie crackles for the first time. Report to spine node C3. The voice is mechanical, genderless, pre-recorded. You didn't push any button. You didn't check in. It just knew. Spine node C3 turns out to be a dead end, except the wall breathes. Not literally, relax, but the air moves subtly as if there's a draft coming through marble. You lean in, and that's when the hum stops. Completely. You don't notice it first, but then your ears strain for it. The hum of lights, the buzz of fluorescence. Gone. Not a power failure, just silence. Unnatural, heavy. The kind that stacks on your shoulders like wet wool. The kind that makes you hold your breath without realizing. In that silence, you hear your own heartbeat. You think, or maybe it's someone else's, behind the wall. You back away slowly. Your mop squeaks once. The sound is unbearable in the quiet. You look behind you. Nothing. That's when you notice something even stranger. Your footsteps, just now, aren't in the dust. You check again. You clearly walk down this stretch, but there's no trail, except one set of faint boot prints leading in the opposite direction. Not yours, not recent, and going into the wall. You shake it off, probably someone from maintenance, or a trick of lighting. The Vatican archives have no windows, no real clocks, and no cell signal. Time and perception warp when you're 90 feet underground. You turn around, retrace your steps. Something in your gut tells you you'll forget this hall if you walk away too quickly. That's another thing no one warns you about. Memory doesn't behave normally down here. Historians still argue whether the Vatican's secret archives were ever as secret as people claimed, or if the real secrets are just how the church hides plain things in plain sight. But you're starting to suspect it's not the documents that are hidden, it's the feeling that noticing is dangerous. When you finally loop back to the janitor's closet near entrance node Alpha, you realize you forgot to breathe again. There's a sign taped to the supply locker. It wasn't there before. It says, "Do not follow the marble where it slopes." Handwritten, in your handwriting. But you didn't write it. You check your pen. It's missing from your pocket. And your shift is only just beginning.
The rules of silence are not handed to you. They're not printed on paper or whispered during orientation. They arrive another way, through architecture, through the hush in the air, and through the way everyone avoids eye contact when you bring up certain topics in the staff break room. Not that you've found the break room yet. Tonight, the corridor feels longer. The same marble under your boots, same humming lights. But now, you hear them. Rules. They echo in your head like you already knew them and somehow broke them. Rule 1. Never touch a sealed room. They look like vaults, but they're older than vaults. You'll pass one just past Corridor Delta. Its door sealed with wax, marked with a triple-crossed key, the symbol of the Papal Archivum Maximum. You've swept past it 3 nights now, and each time it smells stronger, like myrrh and scorched paper. You resist the urge to touch the handle, but tonight the wax is cracked. Someone's been inside. Not you, not officially. Rule 2. Never speak above a whisper. Even if no one else is here, even if you're alone and stub your toe on an iron grate that definitely wasn't there yesterday, even if the stone cherub turns to look at you mid-sentence, you whisper, because this place doesn't like noise. Back in 1810, during the Napoleonic raids on the Vatican, French soldiers reportedly opened a vault not listed in any official records. The 3 soldiers assigned to carry out the materials never returned. According to a later church memorandum, now mysteriously missing, only one thing was heard echoing from the open corridor: chanting. The same kind you think you heard last night. Faint, male, droning. They say that vault was resealed within the hour and blessed with rites no longer practiced. Historians still argue whether it was ever really opened, or if the French just got scared and ran. But the Vatican sealed that wing completely by 1813, until someone forgot to relock it last Tuesday. Rule 3. Never ask about the white index. This rule wasn't whispered, it was felt. Because on your second night, during your rotation near the climate-controlled section, you passed a plain door, painted white, no label, no security lock, just cold. The handle fogged when you stood near it. No other doors fog. The white door is never mentioned on your map, not even in the archive's master blueprint, which hangs in the custodial closet behind 3 padlocks. That's where you saw it again, a blank space where the door should be. You asked Father Lucio about it, a slim priest in charge of the nocturnal records, who always smells like lavender and burnt toast. He stared at you too long before saying, "That door hasn't existed since 1962. When you asked again, he blinked, "What door?" and walked away. But tonight, that same white door is cracked open just enough to see black. You're not supposed to look, so you keep moving. The mop glides along the floor like it remembers the path better than you. You hum softly to yourself, some old tune from a childhood cartoon. It helps, a little. Just don't whistle. That's another unspoken rule. No one ever whistles in the archives. As you turn towards Vault Hall 7, the scent changes. Not mildew, not incense. Something like ozone and cloves. The lights above flicker once, then twice, and then hold. There's a sign taped to the marble. Same handwriting as before, same ink, same awkward left slant. It says, "You broke Rule 1." You freeze. You don't remember breaking it. You don't remember opening anything. But your pocket is damp. You reach inside and pull out a small piece of wax, red, cracked, still warm. The vault from Corridor Delta. You did touch it, or something did, with your hand. You wipe the wax on your uniform pants and feel ridiculous. You're a janitor, for heaven's sake. You're not trained for exorcisms or psychic warfare. You were told this was an easy night job. You'd listen to podcasts, read old Latin signs, mop a few floors. That's it. But now, your name is flickering on the terminal in the staff hub. Not the full screen, just in the background. Under current occupancy, authorized personnel, 0. Unauthorized, 1. Identified, your name. You press the screen, it flickers. Then the white index flashes briefly before vanishing. Your shift was supposed to end at 4 a.m., but time doesn't behave here. The walkie-talkie crackles again. Same voice, same monotone. Return to the point of entry. You left something behind. You check your pockets. Mop? Check. ID? Check. Keys? Check. You didn't leave anything behind. But something clearly disagrees. And the rules don't protect you anymore.
You didn't know his name. No one talks about him. But he was the last person to hold your job. The only other person in the last 15 years, according to payroll. Though that itself seems strange. This place is massive. Millions of documents, miles of corridors, but only one janitor? His broom is still here. You first saw it on day 1, leaning neatly in the corner of the supply room, right next to your own. Identical except for the grip. His handle has worn finger grooves. Yours is still smooth. His mop head smells like rosemary and ink. Yours smells like lemon-scented bleach, or at least that's what the label says. Tonight, something's changed. His broom is warm. You didn't touch it. You swear you didn't. But the heat radiates faintly, like a hand just let go of it, like it's been used. And the bristles wet, not soaked, just damp enough to leave a line on the stone if you slide it. You do. You draw a small arc. The smear appears. Someone used this broom in the last few minutes. You look down. A new trail appears at the threshold of the mop room. Dust disturbed. Not your pattern. Smaller strides. Barefoot. You step out. Footprints leading away, back toward the spinal corridor. You follow them, of course, because you're human, because you're curious, because you have no training in when to stop following strange barefoot footprints in a 500-year-old underground facility filled with banned documents and unofficial vaults. The marble feels different underfoot now. Not smoother, softer, almost sponge-like. And the lights overhead dim slightly, just enough for the shadows to stretch a bit farther than before. You glance up at a passing fresco, Christ with the keys to heaven, and you swear his eyes are now open. Last night, they were shut. You try to shake it off. Just fatigue. The Vatican's archives are old. They play tricks on you, right? That's what you keep telling yourself. The footprints stop at a vault marked simply B13. There's no B12, no B14, just B13. Except, not officially. The door has no physical number, just a brass circle where a number used to be. You remember it clearly now. On your first night, that circle was smooth. Now it reads 13, and the footprints end there. You press your ear to the door. Silence. Then
Something you hate yourself for identifying. Breathing. Not labored, not whispery. Calm, rhythmic. Whoever is inside knows you're out here, and they're not panicking. You check your walkie-talkie. It's buzzing faintly. No voice, just feedback. The static stutters like Morse code. You think you recognize one letter repeating again and again. H, H, H. You back away. You try to remember protocol, but no one gave you protocol. There was no manual, just a laminated keyring and a nod from a man who hasn't returned a call since. You check the door again. There's a line of fresh dust just beneath it. The kind of dust that builds slowly in rooms untouched for centuries. But tonight, it's been moved, blown outward, from inside. You kneel. You can't help yourself. You write a word in the dust. Hello. And wait. Nothing. You stand up. But just as you turn to leave, you look down again. A second word is there, right beneath yours. Soon. You didn't write that. And it's in the exact same handwriting as the note you found on your locker. You sprint back to the supply closet. The broom is still there. But now, there are two of them, identical. One with finger grooves, one with your name carved into the handle. You never did that. You run your thumb over the carved letters. The wood is still warm. You check the custodial logbook. Last page, blank. You flip backward. Last entry, May 3rd, 1987. Signed by someone whose name has been violently erased, scratched out with something sharp, deep enough to tear the paper. But just above the scratch, in faded ink, shift begins at midnight. If I don't return, burn the broom. Burn the broom? You glance at the fire extinguisher. Plastic, not helpful. You glance at the mop bucket. Empty. You glance at your own hands. Shaking. In the corner of the room, you see movement, barely perceptible. A smudge on the glass. A reflection? No. A face. You turn. Nothing. When you look back at the window, the smudge is gone, and a word is written on the inside, backward. Replaceable. The radio buzzes again. New assignment logged. Janitor slot confirmed. Entry 1. You check the terminal. Your name is gone. Replaced with slot occupied. Status ongoing. You hear a broom sweep once behind you. You are alone. You hope. The door to Vault B13 wasn't always locked. That's what the cleaning chart says. Though it's not dated, not printed, just handwritten in the margins of an older rota sheet tucked under the lining of the mop sink. You weren't looking for it. You were just trying to fix a leak. But now you're here again. And tonight, someone's unlocked it from the inside. You didn't see the lock turn. You didn't hear it click. But the brass handle sits slightly askew, like someone twisted it too hard or too eagerly. It shudders faintly when you reach for it, like it's breathing under your palm. You don't open it. You're not that foolish. But you do kneel down. Slide your flashlight under the crack. The light hits shelves, stone ones, not wooden, stacked with scrolls instead of books. No barcodes, no dust jackets, just parchment, thousands of them. Some are tied with faded red string. Others are sealed with rings of black wax, their sigils melted into unrecognizable blobs. You pause. There's a handprint on the floor just inside the door. Left hand, pressed into dust. Recent and small, child-sized. You pull the flashlight back, slow, silent. You don't breathe until it's back in your vest pocket. Then you do the worst possible thing. You knock, once, soft. You don't even know why. Curiosity, boredom, the slow psychological erosion of working night shifts in a labyrinth of forgotten sins. Take your pick. But something knocks back, twice, soft, deliberate, with rhythm, like a child, like a nursery rhyme. Knock, knock. Your hand drops to the walkie-talkie. You click it on, white noise, no channels responding. You press every button, nothing but static. You decide to take a lap, calm your nerves, dust a different wing. But when you turn the corner, you realize the corridor has changed. It's longer. The cherub statue is gone. The map on the wall is in a different language, still Latin, but not the kind you've studied. Letters shaped wrong, twisted, as if someone took the Roman alphabet and let it ferment too long in the dark. You wipe your face. Maybe you're dehydrated. Maybe the archives are finally getting to you. You head toward what you think is the supply closet, but when you open the door, it's not a closet anymore. It's aisle B13. You step back, slam the door shut. It doesn't latch. The handle is warm. You smell old ink, not like printer ink, something more organic, coppery, like iron and rot and cloves. And something else, lemon soap, your soap, the scent you mop with. That shouldn't be in there. You close your eyes. The Vatican secret archives were renamed in 2019, you recall. The official name now, the Vatican Apostolic Archive. A branding decision, PR, more open-sounding. But historians still argue whether the renaming meant actual transparency or just a chance to reshuffle which secrets were public and which ones slipped even deeper underground. You know which theory you're leaning toward. Your phone vibrates. Odd, it never works down here. But the screen lights up. No service, just one notification. Image received. No sender. You open it. It's a photo of a broom. Yours. Propped neatly against Vault B13. But you're holding your broom. You drop the phone. When you pick it back up, the screen is cracked. The photo is gone. Your shoes squeak against the floor. Behind you, the corridor exhales, long and slow, like something very old just shifted position. You spin. A light flickers far down the hall. You take one step forward. The mop bucket rolls 1 inch on its own, then stops. You take another step. There's a new sign on the wall, not printed, scratched in with something sharp. B13 is not a room, it's a shift. The hallway buzzes louder now, fluorescence trembling. A low hum builds under your feet. You realize you're clenching the broom too tight, and your right hand is wet. You look down. Ink, black, thick. But you didn't touch anything. You wipe it on your pants. It doesn't come off. The lights overhead blink once and then hold steady. The corridor looks normal again. The cherub statue is back. The map is back to modern Latin. The door to Vault B13 is closed tight, locked. You turn around to leave. A faint trail of black footprints leads the opposite way, child-sized, and yours are following them.
You've seen Latin before. Studied a little in school. Enough to read the signs posted around the Vatican's more obscure wings. Enough to know sanctum means holy, and periculum means danger. But what you see tonight, scrawled across the marble arch of Corridor Epsilon, isn't Latin. Not exactly. At first glance, it's a familiar script. Curved letters, classical forms. But then the words twist midway through, morph into characters you don't recognize. One symbol looks like a crucifix, but crooked. Another resembles a fish with 3 eyes. The third is just a circle, a perfect blackened ring etched into the stone with something that bit deep. It wasn't there yesterday. You're sure of it. You stop, squint, raise your flashlight. The beam flickers once. As it passes over the writing, the letters shimmer, rearrange. Your head hurts. You blink. The letters shift again. Now the symbols look more like teeth, not drawings of teeth, actual teeth. Yellowed, irregular, human. You lower the light. They go still. You feel something between your eyes, a pressure, like you're about to sneeze or scream. Then it fades. Maybe you imagined it. You begin your sweep. Just a normal hallway after all. Mopping motion. Right, left, right, left. Breathe. Listen. The mop glides over the floor as though the stone remembers the rhythm better than you. The bristles slide through a faint layer of dust. Except there's no dust here. The Vatican pays too well for dust. So where did it come from? You stop. Look at the base of the wall. The dust is rising. Not blowing, rising. Tiny flecks floating upward toward the ceiling, like reverse snow. You step back. The wall behind the inscription is vibrating, only slightly, like it's breathing. You're not supposed to be here, are you? Are you? The Vatican's real archives go deeper than you mop. You've always known that. There's the public archive, the part with shelves, manuscripts, a guided tour now and then. Then the restricted archive, climate-controlled, paperly sealed, only accessible by 4 authorized scholars at a time. And then, whatever this is, you snap a photo of the writing with your phone. The screen goes black. When it powers on again, there's no photo. But the camera roll now includes an image of you taken from behind, standing in front of the wall, taken just now. You didn't hear the shutter. You didn't feel the vibration. Your hands are shaking again. You glance around. No cameras, no mirrors. Then you notice the writing again. It's changed. Now, somehow, you can read it. The flesh remembers what the mind forgets. You whisper it aloud. The moment the words leave your lips, something behind the wall knocks. Not softly, hard. Once.
You stumble back. The broom clatters to the ground. A low hiss snakes through the vents above you. You turn to run and see something new scratched into the marble behind you. Quis custodiet ipsos custodes. You recognize it. Who watches the watchman? A phrase carved on Roman ruins, a favorite of cynics, a jab at the clergy during medieval times. But historians still argue whether it originally referred to divine authority or something far older, far stranger, something buried in the archives long before Rome even knew what the church would become. Your flashlight flickers again. The batteries aren't dying, they're brand new, but it still flickers. You raise it toward the inscription. The words have vanished. Now there's only a number, 439B. You pull out the master map from your uniform pocket. No such room exists. But your radio crackles to life. Same voice as always, calm, robotic. Proceed to location 439B. Broom required. Your throat goes dry. You check your shoes. Black ink. Again. Still no source. You sigh. Pick up the broom. You start walking. The corridor stretches before you. Each step you take, the lights behind you dim, one by one, as if something is following. Not close, but keeping pace. You try not to look back, but you know if you do, there will be another inscription, one in Latin you somehow understand, and you'll read it. And once you read it, you'll belong here, just like the man before you, just like the one before him, and the wall will breathe a little deeper.
You never thought sweeping could be suspenseful. But tonight, the dust has opinions. You're in hallway Theta, one of the older wings, unchanged since the 1500s, if the cracked tile and hand-chiseled ceiling moldings are to be believed. The place smells like candle smoke and old velvet. Your flashlight beam picks out columns lined with Latin quotations and something else. Odd gaps in the stone where something was carved out. Not removed, erased. Like history that someone didn't want to just hide, but delete. You push your broom forward. It snags. You tug. It resists. You crouch down. A thin sheet of something yellowed and curled is caught in the bristles. You pluck it out. Not paper, not parchment. Something between the two, fibrous and veiny, like dried skin that's trying really hard to pass as innocent. You hold it up to the light. There are no markings. Then your fingers brush the surface. A hum, so soft you almost think it's your imagination. But you recognize it. It's the exact frequency of the Vatican lights when they start to flicker. The hum doesn't stop. It gets louder when you put the fragment closer to your face. You can't help it. You whisper, "Hello?" And the dust answers. No words, just shapes. The particles drift upward from the floor, curling into the air like they've been waiting for you. They twist into loops, symbols, patterns. Your breath catches. It's a language, not written, swirled. It dances like incense. You recognize one glyph.
It matches a carving you saw in the Sistine Chapel once, near the border of the ceiling, right next to the serpent. The dust glows faintly. The page vibrates in your fingers, then stops and disintegrates. You don't drop it. It simply falls apart, turns to dust, and joins the others. They continue their dance a moment longer, then collapse to the floor like nothing ever happened. You're alone again, except your broom is humming. You drop it instantly. It rolls once, stops at your boot, and when you pick it up, the handle is warmer than your skin. There's a marking near the bristles now, etched in deep like wood burning. You run your thumb over it. It's in Latin. Non est pulvis, est vox. It is not dust, it is voice. You didn't put that there. You know it wasn't there last night. You check your cleaning checklist, mostly to calm yourself. Tonight, you're supposed to sweep halls theta, epsilon, and the lucidarium. Wait, that's not real. You double-check. The lucidarium hasn't existed since 1903. It was destroyed in a fire so severe it burned through 5 layers of stone. The hallway was sealed, exorcised, and removed from the blueprints. The only remaining document referencing it is a blurry photograph labeled unfit for archival. Historians still argue whether the lucidarium was ever real or just an elaborate metaphor in early Vatican literature. Some say it was a literal corridor. Others claim it was the name for a hidden codex of dreams, visions, and papal hallucinations. Tonight, it's on your schedule. You look back toward Hall Theta. A new message is written on the floor behind you. The dust arranged into Latin script. But this time, it's in your handwriting. Stop sweeping. You freeze. The broom vibrates once, then stills. You look up. A door at the end of the hall, one you've passed 10 times before, opens half an inch. It was locked yesterday. You heard it groan then, old iron hinges refusing to budge. Now it's silent, patient. You step forward. Your flashlight flickers again. You know what this means. You whisper, "Not now," and the flickering stops. You feel ridiculous for bargaining with electricity, but it worked. You crouch down near the open door. Darkness inside, thick, unmoving. You lower your broom into the threshold and gently sweep forward. A whisper, not from the room, from the dust in front of it. A single word curls into the air. Listen. You close your eyes, hold your breath, and press your ear to the crack in the door. You expect a voice. What you get is your own. Breathing, but not how you breathe now. It's the sound of you sleeping. You know it instantly. The uneven rhythm, the whistle you get on cold nights. Someone or something is playing it back to you from behind the door. Your body recoils. You stumble back. The dust collapses mid-air. The whisper dies. You grip the broom and you run. All the way back to the mop room. You slam the door, lock it, sit on the floor, panting. But there's a note taped to your locker, folded, pale blue, elegant handwriting. Dear, your name. We are listening too. Benedictus Archivum. There's no pope by that name, not officially. But you've heard the archivists mention him once, quietly, as a joke. Only, you don't think they were joking.
You aren't supposed to mop Corridor Delta twice in one night. But tonight, you're not really in the mood to follow instructions written by people who vanished without comment. Besides, something's pulling you back. Not literally. Not yet. But there's a sound. It starts as a hum, faint, metallic. You think it might be coming from the old ventilation system, those antique brass grills built into the walls like cathedral lattices. You lean in. The hum splits into chanting. Not music, not Gregorian, just syllables. 3 notes, repeated. Low, low, rise. Male voices, dozens, no, more than that, layered, echoing through the ancient ductwork like monks buried alive in a pipe organ. You press your ear to the vent, and you hear it clearly. Your name, whispered twice. Your name is not a common one. You've never met anyone with the same spelling. The archives got it wrong on your badge, remember? But they just said it right from inside the walls. You stand up too fast, hit your head on a low arch, and curse under your breath. Immediately, the chant stops. Now, there's only silence. And then, from the same pipe, a laugh. One, short, dry, almost polite. You back away. The marble feels slicker under your boots now. Or maybe your balance is just gone. There's a utility alcove nearby, where an old boiler used to hum. It's since been decommissioned, but tonight the door is ajar. Steam curls out from the crack. The hinges are warm. That's not right. Nothing down here runs hot. You enter slowly, sweeping your flashlight through the gloom. The floor inside is coated in a thin layer of condensation. Your boots leave dark marks on the tiles. You hear it again. The chanting, but closer. Coming from the grate in the floor this time. You crouch, shine the light, and nearly drop it. Something in the drain. Wet paper? No, cloth. You reach in with the broom handle, drag it toward you. It's a garment, a robe. Ivory white, trimmed in gold and torn at the collar. You recognize the embroidery. Papal, a ceremonial robe. And stitched into the hem in crimson thread. Dominus audit, the Lord hears. You fold the fabric back. Inside is something small and hard. A rosary? No. Teeth. 3 of them. Human. Flat. Molars. One still stained with something black. You drop the cloth. And then your flashlight beam catches a face. Reflected in the brass pipe beside you. You spin. No one. But when you look back at the reflection, it's still there. Not your face. Someone else. Eyes closed. Lips moving. Mouthing the chant. You raise your hand to the pipe. The reflection raises their hand a moment later. Delayed. Like it wasn't mirroring you, but catching up. You step back. The chanting stops.
stops. The brass grows cold. You rush out of the alcove, heart in your throat. Back in the corridor, things look rearranged. The statues that lined the wall are missing. The floor is dry. The vent where you heard the voices is now sealed shut with riveted iron. And your mop is gone. Just gone. You glance behind you. It's leaning neatly against the wall 20 feet away, pointing toward a corridor you don't remember mopping tonight. A corridor that's darker than the others. The lights overhead are off, not flickering, just off. And someone's been mopping it. You see the lines, the exact figure-8 pattern the training guide said to follow. Only you haven't been there yet, and no one else has the shift tonight. You step forward. A sign on the floor catches your eye, handwritten, stuck under a loose tile. The pipes carry voices, but not all of them belong to the living. You crumple it, shove it in your pocket. Something moves in the shadows up ahead, slow, dragging, the soft slap of wet feet on stone. You turn off your flashlight. Bad idea? Maybe. But at least you won't see whatever's waiting. And maybe it won't see you. Because now, somewhere in the dark, the chant begins again. Only this time, you're the one mouthing along.
You've always trusted books, even in a place like this. There's something about pages, something tactile and honest. Paper can't lie the way people do, or so you thought. Tonight, you're sweeping the West Annex, a dead-end corridor marked by 2 arched frescoes of St. Augustine arguing with a devil. Neither figure looks pleased. Neither figure looks finished either. Their eyes are smeared out, as if rubbed clean with a wet cloth. There's a single reading desk at the end of the hall, carved oak, worn smooth, and on it sits a book. No catalog number, no dust jacket, no label. Just a thin, leather-bound volume, heavy with silence. You know you didn't leave it there. No one comes here. This corridor isn't on your assignment tonight. It isn't on the map. But the book waits for you, like it's always belonged to you. You don't touch it right away. You circle it. The air around it feels stiller, like it's pressing itself into a pause. The overhead light buzzes quietly, but the shadows don't move. Finally, you reach down and open the cover. The first page is blank. So is the second. You flip faster now. Third, fourth, fifth, all blank. Until page 20. There, in faint gray smudges, a single line begins to emerge. Not like it's written, but like it's remembering itself. You were warned not to follow the marble where it slopes. You blink. How does it? You flip back to page 1. Now there's text there too. Your name, the date, tonight's date. You flip forward, faster now.
New words appear, sentences curling into place like fresh ink, only you haven't touched a pen. Then something catches your breath in your chest. A paragraph describing you, standing here, turning this exact page, right now, reading. And the next sentence says, if you stop reading, you'll forget what you've seen. You freeze. You try to test it, close the book, and instantly you feel the memory fade. Not dramatically, not like in movies, just gone, like a dream evaporating. You open it again. The words return. Your breath slows. You read further. More entries. Names of popes. Dates that don't match history books. Entire paragraphs referencing events you were told never happened. The third excommunication of Peter. The trial of light at Avignon. The seventh Sibylline letter. None of these exist in any official doctrine. Historians still argue whether the Church has truly hidden its deepest secrets, or simply written them in books so strange no one dares translate them. One theory suggests a rotating archive, texts that rewrite themselves to match the reader. Another insists some volumes are aware. You're starting to lean toward the second one. The book grows warm in your hands. It breathes. You feel it. It inhales faintly as you turn the page. There's a sketch now, childlike, a stick figure, holding a broom. You laugh nervously. Then the figure moves, just a twitch. You close the book sharply, and the desk shifts half an inch toward you. You step back. It shifts again, closer. You drop the book. It lands open to a fresh page. One word appears in real time, letter by letter, as if typed on an invisible typewriter. Stay. You shake your head. Nope, you say aloud. Bad idea. From the dark behind you, something replies. One word. Not a whisper, not a growl, just neutral. Yes. You spin. Nothing there. You grab the book and fling it into your mop bucket. It doesn't land. It vanishes. No splash, no thud, just gone. You peer in, empty. Your walkie buzzes. Do not misplace Archive Object 17A. Return immediately. You yank the earpiece off. Too late. The lights go out. All of them. You reach for your flashlight. Dead. You fumble backward, hands out. The floor beneath your boots has changed. It's no longer marble. It's soft. Wooden? No. Padded. Like leather stretched tight over something uneven. You kneel. Feel the surface. It pulses once. You stand. Reach the wall. Your hands land not on stone, but on parchment. Wall to wall. A room made of skin-bound paper. And in the center, the book. Back on its desk. Open. Waiting. It writes again. Don't worry. You'll remember this next time. Next time. You blink. And the room is gone. You're back in Corridor Gamma. Your broom leans against the wall. Your name tag is on the floor. Your hand is inked. You don't remember how, but you do remember one word from the book, and it echoes now in your bones. Stay.
They didn't include this hour on the schedule. It jumps straight from 2 to 4. Even your time card skips it. When you swipe your badge at 2:59 a.m., the screen flashes green. When you check again a few minutes later, without having moved, it's 4:01. But right now, it's definitely 3:12. And something in the archives is moving. You feel it before you hear it. A shift in the air, a drag, a breath drawn by something that shouldn't breathe. Your walkie stays silent. Your flashlight flickers again, but doesn't die. This time, it chooses what you can see. The beam narrows like it's focusing on something behind the rows of shelving in Hall Omega. The manuscripts here are sealed in glass, protected against temperature changes, human oils, and light. But one of the cabinets is open. And not just open, emptied. All the scrolls gone. A sticky residue lines the glass. Smells like wax and salt. You press forward. In the center of the room, you find a trail. Footprints again. But not barefoot this time. Boots. Heavy. Church issue. The soles show Latin phrases carved into the rubber. Standard Vatican security practice for emergency exorcists. You saw a pair once. You laughed. You're not laughing now. Because the boot prints lead into a wall. A smooth, unbroken stretch of marble. And the final print is twisted sideways, like whoever was walking was turned or pulled. You glance at your watch. 3:18. The hand is shaking. Not ticking, shaking. You try to sweep. Pretend this is normal. The broom catches something soft. You lift it. Hair. Not much, just a strand, silver white, coiled like thread. You bag it. Why? Instinct. You've started collecting things. The note, the teeth, the robe. You're building a puzzle with no corners. You pause to rest. Take a breath. And hear it again. A sound from the far end of the corridor. Metal dragging on stone. But not fast. Measured and steady. You call out quietly. Just a whisper. Hello? It stops. Then starts again. Faster. You lift the flashlight. The beam strikes nothing, but the sound gets louder. Then, silence, complete, like the air itself is being held. You lower the beam, and now you see it. A small open book lying in the middle of the hallway. Not the same as before. This one is bound in red. You crouch. Its title is etched in Latin. Ora nullia, the hour that does not belong. You don't open it, not this time. Instead, you glance at your watch. Still 3:18, still shaking. You make the mistake of whispering the title aloud. And every light in the corridor flares at once. For a moment, you can see clearly.
There are figures standing between the shelves, dozens, wearing robes with no faces. Each holds a book, all open, all blank. Then the lights blink, and they're gone. You pick up the red book. It's hot, burns your hand. You drop it. It hits the marble and doesn't stop. It falls through the floor like it wasn't solid. A faint, hollow scream echoes up from the hole, then cuts off sharply. You blink, and the floor is whole again. You back away. You whisper, "I wasn't supposed to see that." And the archive answers with a faint shh. You turn to leave. The walkie crackles. For the first time tonight, it's a human voice. Tired, old, male. If you're hearing this, you've stayed too long. The channel clicks off. You glance at your watch. 3:18. Still shaking. You walk faster. The hallways twist. Repeat. Doors you passed already return in the wrong order. Frescoes flicker. You see yourself reflected in the glass twice. One reflection is real. The other is smiling. You duck into a maintenance stairwell. Take the steps 2 at a time. The pressure in the air changes. Suddenly, light. The hallway opens into the original lobby. The old clock above the brass doors reads 4 a.m. Your watch finally ticks once, then twice, then resets. The hour is over, but you feel it still inside you. A tightness behind your eyes, a second heartbeat in your ear. You get back to the mop room and find your shoes neatly placed side by side, dry, clean. But you never took them off. You look at the soles, stamped in tiny lettering, Ora Nulia. You throw them across the room. They land neatly, facing the door, waiting.
You don't remember walking here. That's how this starts. You blink once in the mop room. The next second, you're standing in front of a door. No plaque, no arch number, just stone and air that hums faintly. You check the map again. Nothing. You flip the paper upside down, sideways, still nothing. But the door is there. You push it open. No resistance, no key. The room behind it is cold. Colder than any place you've been down here. Cold like paper in a freezer. Cold like someone forgot to close the crypt. You step inside. The air smells like vinegar and dust. The kind of dust that hasn't been touched in decades, centuries maybe. The floor is dirty, which is strange, because you mop it every night, don't you? Your feet leave prints in the grime. So do someone else's. 2 sets of tracks. Yours and one other. Barefoot, small. You shine your flashlight around. The beam catches faded shelves, broken at odd angles, sagging under the weight of nothing. Books that should be there aren't, or maybe never were. But the dust tells a different story. You sweep it aside. Beneath the grime, you find writing. On the floor,
not carved, drawn in something dark, something that flakes. You touch it. Smells like rust or old blood. You trace the letters. Latin again. Adveniat memoria tua in pulverem. Let your memory come into dust. You whisper it aloud before thinking. Bad idea. The walls inhale. You hear it, stone flexing like lungs. The door shuts behind you. You spin. It's gone. Not shut, gone. No door, no handle, just blank wall. You do what you do best. You mop. Rhythmic, soothing. If the world collapses around you, at least the floor will be clean. Then the brush catches. Again. Same resistance as before. You kneel. Another paper scrap. This one is folded into a triangle. You unfold it. Inside, a sketch. Crude, charcoal on parchment. It shows you, standing in this room, holding the broom, eyes scratched out. Behind you, a shadow. Tall, unfaced, watching. You turn around. Nothing. You sweep faster. Maybe you can erase whatever this is. Out-mop it. Exercise the floor with lemon-scented detergent. Then you hear it. Click, click, click. From above. You glance up. In the corner of the ceiling, a mirror. Small, circular, bronze. And in it, you're not alone. You see movement behind you. But when you turn, the room is empty. Back to the mirror. Still there. A figure. Small, thin, bald, dressed in gray. He's sweeping. Next to you. No sound, just motion. But when you move, he doesn't. He keeps sweeping, even when you stop. You raise your hand. He doesn't. He's not your reflection. Your voice comes out then. Who are you? The figure looks up in the mirror, directly into your eyes, and smiles. You stumble back, knock over the mop bucket. It clangs. Water splashes the floor, and something on the wall appears. A set of handprints. 2. Pressed into the marble, child-sized. Again. This time in ink. And below them, a name. Yours. Exactly as it appears on your ID badge, even the typo. You whisper, "No." A sound from the mirror. Laughter. You swing your flashlight up, smash it into the glass. Shards rain down. The image disappears. You breathe hard, chest heaving. But then, something moves at your feet. A piece of glass, jagged, still reflective. And in it, the boy is still there, sweeping, mouth moving silently, over and over. You press your ear to the shard, and hear a voice, distant but clear. Yours, repeating. I was always here. I never left. I will always clean. You drop the shard, step back.
it keeps whispering. Your walkie clicks once. Cleaning complete. Proceed to next location. No voice this time, just that sentence. You look down at your hands. They're covered in black dust. Not ink, not grime, just dust. You don't remember where you picked it up. You check the walls again. The handprints are gone. The name too. The room is clean. Too clean. You did your job. And the room? It doesn't exist. You know because when you leave, the hallway's gone too. You're in a different wing entirely. You check your location on the map. You're somewhere called Aisle Null. There's a janitor's closet nearby. You open it. Inside, one broom. Already warm, already used, with your name burned into the handle.
You arrive 5 minutes early tonight. Not because you're eager, but because the schedule changed itself. Your paper copy now reads start time 11:55 p.m. No one told you. No call. No email. Just your handwriting on the page. You didn't write it. You're sure of that. But the loop begins again. Uniform, broom, walkie, flashlight, mop bucket, familiar tools for an unfamiliar descent. Only this time, something's off from the very first corridor. Someone has already swept. The marble glows faintly under the overhead lights, not because of the polish, but because there are wet tracks. Mop strokes. Clean, even, tidy. You touch the surface. Still damp. You follow them around a corner. They stop. No footprints, no exit. Just stop. As if the mop vanished into the wall, or into something worse. You check the custodian login station. Your name is already logged in. Time-stamped 5 minutes before you even arrived. And below it? The same name, again, duplicated. Except the second instance is time-stamped tomorrow. You blink. The page refreshes. Now both entries are gone. Your radio hisses. Janitor on site. Begin standard protocol. You hesitate before replying. Then you catch a movement down the hall. Someone. Your height, your build, wearing the same uniform, holding the same mop. You freeze. They don't look at you. They just mop, slow, steady, mechanical. You wave. They turn the corner. Gone. You race after them, but the hallway is empty. Just a single wet line across the floor. You kneel down, swipe your finger through the water. It smells like rosemary and ink. Exactly like the old broom, the one that used to sit next to yours. You thought you were the only one here now, but maybe you aren't.
You enter the nearest janitor closet to collect yourself and stop dead. There's a list on the back wall, a very old one, yellowed, curled at the corners. Assigned custodians, restricted vault rotation. The dates go back centuries. Every 20 years, a new name. All handwritten, no titles, no last names, just initials. Every line ends with a note, assigned until disappearance. You scroll down, the most recent entry, your initials. And next to them, a smudged line. Someone tried to erase it, but the ink held. Assigned until replacement arrives. You hear a noise behind you. Not loud, just a soft brush. You spin around. A second broom leans in the corner. Warm, wet, used. You glance into the hall. Footsteps echo. Yours? No. These are heavier. Boots, maybe. Someone's whistling. 3 notes. The same rhythm from the pipes. You lean out the door. Nobody there. But the hallway is now clean, mopped to perfection. And your mop, still in your hands, hasn't touched water tonight. You step into the corridor, check the dust at the edges. No dust, but something else. Writing, tiny, scratched into the baseboard. Do not clean what is already clean. You whisper it aloud. A cold wind blows down the corridor. But you're underground. There is no wind. Your radio crackles again. A different voice this time. A whisper. Dry, tired. Your voice. You're doing fine. I'm almost done. Then you can sleep. You drop the walkie. It keeps whispering. You step backward into the janitor closet again and find a note pinned to the door from the inside. Welcome to your shift. You've already started. The lights flicker, and now you see it clearly. There's a third broom in the room. Same model, same wear, same name carved in the handle. Your name, but in older wood, older font. You touch it. The grain is smoother than yours, polished from decades, centuries of use. Then the closet lights go out, and somewhere in the hallway, a mop drags slowly across the marble, a sound that's been echoing in this place longer than any footstep.
You find a letter addressed to you. It's tucked under your mop bucket. Folded once. Cream-colored parchment, sealed with red wax. Your name is written on the front in looping script. Perfect Latin calligraphy, the kind taught in monasteries and forgotten by most modern hands. But the part that stops you cold is the date. July 7th, 1639. 386 years ago. You peel the wax. It cracks cleanly, like it's been waiting. Inside, a letter. Long, carefully inked. You start reading. It begins like this. To the one who cleans between hours, we greet you not as a servant, but as a witness. Your presence in the vault is foretold. We regret what you must see. We regret more what you will remember. You pause. Your hands are shaking again. You continue. The archives consume what they cannot catalog. Knowledge has weight, memory more so. When I walked where you walk, I too heard the voices. I too saw the mop move on its own. I too read the book that changed each time I opened it. You skip to the signature. Your name, exactly as it's spelled on your badge. Not the Vatican's typo. Your actual name. Dated 1639. In your handwriting. You flip the paper over, hoping for a punchline. Instead, there's a second note, hastily scrawled. If you are reading this, burn it. Don't let them remember through you. The walkie buzzes again, that tired, familiar whisper. You read it, didn't you? No question mark. Not a real question. You hear something outside the door. Footsteps again, but not approaching. Pacing up and down, same patch of marble. You didn't mop it. You can feel that in your bones. You smell the rosemary ink blend again. Then you see it. Another letter, pinned to the wall with an old rusted nail. This one isn't sealed. The parchment is darker, stained at the edges, burned, but your name is still on it. Inside, a single line. They're trying to remember themselves. What does that mean? You walk further down the hall, clutching the letter. You try to tear it. It resists. The fibers won't rip. You strike a match. The flame fizzles out instantly. You try again. Nothing. The paper won't burn. It won't tear. It won't leave. You shove it into your pocket. Behind you, you hear the soft slap of a mop again. You turn. There's a janitor. Your size. Same uniform. No face. Not hidden. Just smooth. Blank. A perfectly clean surface. They pause. Tilt their head. Their hand raises. Waves. Then continues mopping. You whisper, "Who are you?" They stop again, then point to the breast of their uniform, where the name tag should be. You squint. You see a smudge of ink. Then your name, but older, faded, stained, burned at the corners. You take a step back. The janitor doesn't follow, just resumes mopping and humming the three-note melody from the pipes. You back away into a side corridor. It's unfamiliar, but so everything now. The walls here are darker, no marble, just stone. A small plaque says, "Storage C, authorized personnel only." You're not authorized. You enter anyway. Inside,
hundreds of metal file drawers, labeled in Latin, dates, initials. You search, find your initials, twice. One marked opened, the other sealed. You open the first. Inside, one glove, your glove, the one you lost last week. You were sure you dropped it on the train. You try the second drawer, locked. A note is taped to the front, sealed until memory stabilizes. Do not attempt re-entry during temporal bleed. You slam it shut. Enough. You leave the storage room. Try to breathe. The archives are quieter now. Still. Too still. You realize something horrifying. The air is gone. Not all of it. Just the hum. The whisper of ducts. The breath of the vault. Everything has stopped. Even time. Your watch ticks, then stutters, then stops at 12 a.m. Your shift, officially, begins again. You look down at your uniform. It's clean, too clean. No ink, no dust, no signs you've mopped at all. You pat your pocket. The letter is gone, the one from 1639. And in your hand, a new letter, sealed. Same handwriting, same wax. You break the seal. This time, the message is shorter. Welcome back.
At first, it's just a flicker. You think it's the same old buzz, the Vatican's fluorescent glow hiccuping like it does around 3 a.m. when the building seems to sigh. You've gotten used to that rhythm. But tonight, something's different. You're in Vault Corridor H, somewhere between the climate-regulated papal scrolls and the unmarked vault known only in staff whispers as the Chamber Without Return. It's always locked, always sealed. Until now. Because the lights blink once and don't come back. Not one. Full, suffocating, liquid black. You stand there, breathing into the void. Then remember the flashlight. You flick it on. It stutters. Once, twice, then steadies. Weak beam, but enough. For now. The corridor looks different in flashlight. The marble doesn't reflect, it absorbs. Your shadow doesn't stretch, it shrinks, like the light is being swallowed pixel by pixel. You begin to move, one slow step at a time, broom in hand, because what else would you be holding at the edge of reality? Your boots squeak once. That sound travels too far and echoes back to you with one extra footstep. You freeze, flashlight up, nothing. You call out softly, "Hello?" The radio crackles, but not the voice you expect. This one is breathing, heavy, in, out, steady, like a mechanical lung. You try to speak, but a whisper answers first, from just behind your shoulder. No need to clean tonight. You whip around, empty hall, except a mirror, one you haven't seen before. Small, oval, brass framed. Your reflection stares back.
But the mouth is moving. Yours is not. The voice comes again, from the reflection. We don't want the dust to forget us. Your hand twitches. The flashlight beam catches a figure at the far end of the corridor. Small, slumped, facing away. You blink? Gone. The radio clicks again. You left the light on. You didn't, you're sure. But as you turn the corner back toward the mop room, you see it. Through the crack in the door, a soft, golden glow coming from within. You push it open. Your flashlight dies. The mop room is bathed in flickering candlelight. Not electric, actual flames, lining the shelves, the counter, the walls. Each candle sits in a wax circle, melted flat, etched with small Latin prayers. You recognize one. Fiat lux, let there be light. And on the floor, chalk lines, a circle, symbols drawn in salt and dust, and something darker. At its center, a book, the red one, Hora Nullius. Open, unreadable. The words change too fast to follow. Then, footsteps, right behind you. You turn. Your flashlight sputters once, flickers back to life. In its dim beam, the hallway outside is filled with figures, all standing, silent, uniformed, each holding a broom. You take a step back. They do not follow, but they breathe. You hear it. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Like one massive organism. You whisper, "Who are you?" They answer, together, in perfect sync. We are memory's sweepers, and so are you. You slam the mop room door. It doesn't close. Instead, the light inside dies, instantly. The candles extinguish in one collective breath. The flashlight dies again, this time permanently. You're plunged into total darkness. No windows, no reflection, no sound, except your own breath. And someone else's, very near. You raise your hand in front of your face. Can't see it, but you feel warmth. Then, a hand touches yours. Soft, cold, not hostile, not friendly, just there, holding yours. You freeze. And then, from the blackness, it's okay. The lights only lie. A click. Your eyes adjust. Dim green glow. Exit sign? No. A screen. The janitor login terminal. Backlit. Alive. The name on the screen. Yours. Blinking. Then fading. Replaced with 2 words. Slot vacant. The hand lets go. You step forward. The figures are gone. The hallway is empty. But your broom? It's already back in the supply closet. Still warm, still wet. Used. But you don't remember using it. Not tonight. Not ever. You pick it up. Feel it hum. Just once. Just enough to remind you. You're never cleaning alone. Not in here. Not in the dark.
You never meant to get this far.
This was supposed to be a night job, a paycheck, a quiet way to drift between bills and forgotten dreams. Not this. Not a Vatican vault with a door that breathes. And yet, here you are. You've passed it every shift. Same hallway, same warning carved faintly above the frame. Non tangere usque tempus finet. Do not touch until time is finished. You always listened. Until tonight. Because tonight, the door is open. Just slightly. Warm air spills out, humid and heavy, like exhaled breath. You hesitate. You remember the rules. The ones you were never officially given, but absorbed through silence. Don't open sealed rooms. Don't speak above a whisper. Don't ask about the white index. And absolutely, under no circumstance, don't go inside the singing door. They didn't call it that, of course, not formally. But every janitor before you, what few records exist, mentioned it obliquely. The room that hums, the vault that waits, the breath behind the brass. But now it sings, a low, melodic pulse, not words, not any melody you know, but it moves you, like a half-remembered hymn from childhood, woven with the rhythm of something much older than language. You step closer. The floor is dusty, but only in the direction leading in. You glance down. No footprints. Not yet. You reach for the handle. It's warm. Too warm. You flinch, but you don't pull away. The singing grows louder. Layers of voices. One soprano. Two baritones. A child? You open the door. It swings with no sound, no resistance. And behind it, a chapel. But not like any you've seen. The ceiling arches impossibly high. No source of light, yet the space glows faintly gold. The walls pulse. Stone, yes, but breathing. Inhale, exhale. The altar is cracked. On it sits a book, of course, but this one is bound in metal, brass and bone. And as you step forward, it opens itself. Pages flutter, and the singing stops. Instantly, you approach. Your name is written in red across the top of the first page. Beneath it, final sweep assigned. You try to turn the page. Your hand won't move. Instead, the book moves your hand. It guides you gently, page after page. Each one shows a moment you've experienced but not remembered. Mopping rooms that aren't on any map. Reading letters that burned when you blinked. Watching yourself from above. Then, the final page. A single word. Stay. You whisper, no. The room inhales. All around you, the walls shift. Figures step from alcoves you hadn't seen. Robed, faceless, each holding a broom, each humming. Not the hymn anymore. Now it's static, feedback, mechanical breathing. You step back. The altar cracks further. Blood, no, ink, leaks from its center. You run, back down the aisle, back through the glowing door. It closes behind you on its own, shuts with a gentle hiss. The hallway is dark. Your flashlight flickers back to life without your touch. You scan around. Everything looks normal. Only it isn't. The exit sign now reads, "You are home." You drop the broom. It clatters too loud. The sound echoes forever. You walk to the janitor closet. The door opens before you touch it. Inside, your uniform, pressed, neat, waiting. Next to it, a broom, unused, fresh, with someone else's name carved into the handle, not yours. You check the roster screen. Your name? Erased. A new one added. No photo. Just a blank silhouette. Status: in progress. You step back. Something rustles behind you. Paper. A page floats to the ground. From the singing room. You pick it up. This time, it says, "You opened the door. Now, the door opens you." You don't sleep that day. You don't eat. You stare at the ceiling of your Vatican-provided room until night comes again, because you know you'll be drawn back. Same uniform, same schedule, same door. Only next time, you'll go further in, because next time, it will be singing your voice.
You are never seen again. The Vatican says nothing. No press release. No missing person bulletin. Your locker is quietly emptied. Your name scratched off the duty roster by a pen that writes in ink too old for modern plastic. No one asks questions. But your broom? It's still there. Warm. Resting gently against the wall, like you just stepped out for a break. The new janitor arrives. Young, tired, doesn't believe in ghosts or miracles, not yet. They're handed the same laminated badge with your name misspelled again. And so the schedule begins. But for you, it's still the same night. The hallway doesn't change. You keep walking it. Maybe in dreams, maybe in echoes, maybe in that impossible hour between 3 and 4 that still hasn't let you go. You clean. Because it's what you were made for now. Because the archives remember you, even if the world does not. And behind one sealed door, room B13, still unlisted, there's a desk. On it, the book, the one bound in metal.
Its final page has filled itself since you left. He chose to remember. So, we kept him. Sometimes the lights flicker at midnight. Sometimes voices hum in the air ducts. A song no one knows. But if you stand very still at the top of the marble corridor, just where the slope begins, you might hear it. A mop swiping softly across polished stone. And a whisper from just behind the wall. Don't forget me. And of course, you don't. Because you're still here.
Let the broom behind for the night. Let the marble grow cold again. Let the humming in the pipes fade. You've made it to the end of the archives for now. And maybe, just maybe, you'll carry a sliver of this silence with you into sleep. Not everything in history is written in ink. Some stories survive in dust, in echoes, in empty corridors that never make it onto the map. You were only meant to clean, but you uncovered things better left untouched. So tonight, let your breath slow. Let your shoulders soften. You're not alone anymore. You never were. Somewhere below Rome, beneath layers of stone and time, a book is still writing itself. Line by line, footstep by footstep, and every word is yours. Now close your eyes. Let the echoes drift. Let the doors stay sealed. Let the corridors vanish. Tomorrow will come. But for now, just rest. Sleep deeply. Dream quietly. And try not to remember.